What could possibly drive Rowoon to finally reveal the shocking truth behind his marriage to Park Eun-bin? The air is thick with speculation. Whispers racing through fan circles and the entertainment world alike. Join Red Carpet Revealed as we pull back the curtain and dive deep into the untold story, starting right now. The air was heavy with anticipation. Cameras clicked in rapid succession, their flashes painting the room in bursts of blinding light. Yet the silence was almost deafening. Every pair of eyes in the hall, reporters, fans, industry insiders, were locked on the tall figure standing at the podium. Rowoon, usually composed and effortlessly charming, looked different that afternoon. His gaze was steady but intense, his jaw set as though bracing for impact. The question on everyone's mind was unspoken but alive in the air: why now? Why choose this moment to reveal the truth the world had been speculating about for years? The headline had already been written in countless variations by gossip blogs and entertainment magazines: Rowoon reveals shocking truth about marrying Park Eun-bin. But no one truly knew what that truth was. They had guesses, theories, wild rumors that had snowballed over time, some harmless, others cruel. For years, the two had danced around the questions, smiling politely, offering carefully worded responses. Their chemistry on screen had been undeniable. From their first collaboration on a period drama to their more recent roles that seemed to blur the line between acting and reality, the public devoured every interaction. Fleeting glance captured by cameras. Yet neither confirmed nor denied what the world wanted to believe. Leading up to this day, something had shifted. The tone of the rumors had grown sharper, tinged with malice. Anonymous accounts accused Park Eun-bin of manipulating her way into Rowoon's life, while others painted Rowoon as a cold opportunist. It wasn't just idle chatter anymore, it was invasive, biting, and exhausting. And though they had both tried to ignore it, those close to them noticed the way it weighed on their shoulders. It all began years earlier on the set of their first drama together. She was already a respected actress with a reputation for professionalism and warmth. He was a rising star, his career just beginning to hit its stride. At first, their interactions were courteous but cautious, the way two professionals navigate the delicate balance of on-screen intimacy and off-screen distance. But as the months passed, something shifted. Between takes, their conversations lingered. In interviews, their praise for each other seemed to carry an unspoken depth. Still, they guarded their private lives fiercely, determined to keep whatever was growing between them out of the public eye. Then came the night that changed everything. A wrap party for the drama, tucked away in a private venue in Gangnam, where the drinks flowed and laughter softened the edges of the room. At some point, Rowoon found himself standing outside on the balcony, the winter air biting at his cheeks. Park Eun-bin joined him, wrapped in a long coat, her breath visible in the cold. They talked about everything except the show, their childhood memories, their fears, their dreams. It was there, in that quiet corner, that Rowoon realized he was falling for her. What followed was a relationship conducted entirely in the shadows. Private dinners at friends' apartments, vacations disguised as solo trips, late-night phone calls when schedules kept them apart. It wasn't perfect, they argued. They disagreed, but there was an unshakable trust that held them together. They had no intention of rushing into marriage, but life, it often does, had other plans. Whispers about their closeness began to leak to the press. Paparazzi photos of them entering the same restaurant hours apart were stitched into stories about secret rendezvous. Fans analyzed social media posts for clues: the same sunset in two different photos, the same song lyric quoted weeks apart. Still, they said nothing. Then came the turning point, a private family matter that neither had ever spoken about publicly. Without warning, Rowoon's father fell seriously ill. During those long nights in the hospital, Park Eun-bin never left his side. She cooked for the family, kept him company, and offered a kind of strength he didn't know he needed. It was in the midst of that crisis that Rowoon understood he didn't just want her in his life, he needed her there, permanently. The decision to marry came quietly, without the spectacle people might expect. There was no grand proposal on a beach or diamond ring flash to the paparazzi. It was a simple conversation in his apartment. Both of them sitting cross-legged on the floor, sharing takeout. "Let's do it," he had said. And she knew exactly what he meant. Her smile in that moment was all the answer he needed. But when the news leaked, the world wasn't ready to accept it. Fans were divided, some celebrated, felt betrayed. The industry buzzed with speculation. Had they hidden their relationship for so long? Why such a sudden leap to marriage? Neither answered. They weathered the storm in silence, believing that love was theirs to protect. Yet as the months went by, the attacks on Park Eun-bin grew louder. Online forums filled with posts accusing her of forcing Rowoon's hand. Others spun stories about secret deals and career manipulation. It was ugly. And though she tried to appear unfazed, Rowoon saw the toll it took on her. He saw the way her eyes dimmed when she thought no one was watching. Heard the hesitation in her laughter. And something in him snapped. This brings us back to this day, to this room. To the moment when Rowoon decided the world needed to hear the truth. He gripped the sides of the podium, took a breath, and looked out at the sea of faces. Cameras were poised, pens ready. The silence deepened, as though the air itself was holding still. "It's time you all know the truth," he began. His voice steady but charged with emotion. The room leaned in. And for a heartbeat, it felt like the entire nation was leaning in too. Collective exhale. Though no one had been aware they were holding their breath, Rowoon's words seemed to hang in the air, suspended in the glare of the stage lights. His eyes didn't waver. And when he spoke again, his tone was softer. But every syllable carried the weight of months, years, of restraint. "I didn't marry Park Eun-bin because of pressure. I didn't marry her because of rumors. I married her because she's the person who stood beside me when the rest of the world fell away. When my father was in the hospital, she was there. I doubted myself. She reminded me who I was. She didn't just love me, she protected me." A murmur rippled through the crowd. Some reporters were already typing furiously, frozen with their pens hovering above notepads. Rowoon continued, speaking not just to the press, the millions who would watch the footage later. "I know people have said things about her, hurtful things. I've read them. And every time, I stayed silent, thinking it was better to ignore them. But my silence made her carry a burden she didn't deserve. So today, I'm telling you all, she is my wife because I love her. Because I chose her. And because I will keep choosing her for the rest of my life." From the corner of the stage, Park Eun-bin's eyes shimmered. She had been composed when they entered, her hand in his. But now her expression softened into something unguarded. When their eyes met, a flicker of gratitude, love, and relief all at once. The room erupted, not in cheers, but in the frenzied chaos of breaking news. Cameras whirred. Reporters shouted questions. Outside, fans who had been waiting in the cold began chanting her name. Tags began flooding social media within minutes. The most popular reading: Rowoon protects Eun-bin. In the quieter space of the green room, Rowoon and Eun-bin sat side by side. The adrenaline was still coursing through them. But there was also a strange calm, as if a storm had finally passed. She leaned her head against his shoulder. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yes, I did," he replied without hesitation. "I don't ever want you to doubt how much you mean to me." The hours that followed, news outlets scrambled to update their headlines. Public opinion began to shift, with more voices speaking out in support. Colleagues from the industry posted messages of congratulations and admiration. Even some former critics admitted they had misjudged her. For Rowoon and Eun-bin, the revelation marked the start of a new chapter. They no longer had to hide. No longer had to filter their interactions for fear of feeding rumors. They could walk into a premiere holding hands without wondering how the photos would be spun. They could post a simple picture together without calculating the potential backlash. But more than the freedom to be seen, it was the freedom to speak, to tell their story in their own words, that mattered most. And as they left the venue that night, stepping into the cool air, the flash of cameras no longer felt invasive. Instead, it felt like the first page of something they could finally write together, in the open. Behind them, the murmur of the press conference still echoed in the digital space, replayed in clips and quoted in articles. Ahead of them was only the sound of their footsteps in sync, the warmth of fingers intertwined, and the quiet certainty that, whatever came next, they had already faced the world and spoken their truth. To every reader who has followed this journey, thank you for giving your time, your attention, your open heart to this story. Love, in all its forms, deserves to be told and celebrated, and your support means more than words can express.